Hi everyone, it's Diane Evans with stampinwithdiane.com. I'm I'm an independent Canadian Stampin' Up demonstrator here in Canada, and I live in the interior of British Columbia. So if you have joined me through my YouTube or whether you've joined me through my Facebook, welcome. If you've never subscribed or liked my page, make sure that you do, and then that way you get notified immediately as soon as I do go live. Plus, I also post earlier on in the day that I'm going live and what I'm doing for the day. So today is, how did they do that? This is my Technique Tuesday that I do every Tuesday. If I'm away, I usually try to pre-record them because this is an episode, bunch of episodes that I really enjoy doing this particular series. So we're going back to some of the really old techniques, or some techniques that you probably have seen. You might see a different way that I might do the technique where you haven't seen it quite done that way. So I'm hoping that that helps. But also, you need to be a part of my Stampin' with Diane Stampers group in order to be able to download the tutorials. So today what we're going to do, and I'm just going to jump on right on down to my desktop, we are going to be doing the spotlight technique. And I'm just going to move this up just a bit. There we go. So this spotlighting technique is basically a very, very simple one. I'm going to show you one way of doing it, and then I've got another card, and I'm going to explain how I did that one as well. So this is, like I say, a very simple technique, but I think you can get some pretty amazing results with this, depending on how far you're going to go, reach outside the box or whatever. So this PDF will be downloaded tomorrow, and it's at 9:05 tomorrow on my Facebook page that I do it. You're going to put your sample of this particular technique, and whether it's your sample or whether you put a picture on there, I don't think that you can actually. So, but you want a sample of your technique, and in this particular technique, you might have to take that whole box up in order to do this. And then what I will do, I will post the picture of the card that I'm doing today, and I will give you the measurements of that card, plus also notes. So the notes might just be certain particular stamp sets or dies that I've used. And then I go down here. There will also be a link to my YouTube channel, or to my YouTube, this particular video that is recording right now onto YouTube. So I hope that you're finding this helpful. Print them off, put them in a binder, and then you've got your reference on there. All right, so let's get going. We are going to be using the Fond of Autumn bundle. This is a bundle. If you buy it as a bundle, you save the 10%. But these have some beautiful dies, and I want to explain a few things about these dies. Not only does it have the banner die with some of these words that you can use with it, but they also have a die that you basically will cut this part out and then cut out the frame of it. And isn't it gorgeous? Hello. In any event, this, I have to say, I've had one person, and that's you, Laura, that has been after me to do the spotlight technique. And this one is basically because of you. If there's a certain technique that you want me to do, don't think that I'm not going to do that technique. It took a few weeks to get this technique for Laura. In any event, let's go back to the dies. So how you cut this one out is to put this and then put this around there. And what it'll do is it'll cut that out completely. Another thing that this does, this has another die that will cut out sections of this die. And what originally I wanted to do with this particular technique was be able to use one of these sections. However, it doesn't give a layering section, so we would have been fussy cutting with it. So that was my whole thing. I hummed and hawed, and actually the card I'm going to show you at the end of the video of what I did was the original card we were going to do today, but I was stubborn. I wanted to use this stamp set. Okay, so yes, and here's the bundle. It's on page 52 of the JDD mini catalog. So you can see you can do some beautiful things with it. I can see so many different techniques that you can use with this particular stamp set. The thing I like the best about this are the acorns and the acorn leaves. They just sing to me for some reason. Any event. So we've got that. I've shown you that. So what I'm actually doing is we're going to be doing some coloring with this. Now, usually the basic white is a good paper to use when you're using stamping blends. If you are going to and you want to, and because this I'm doing this into a fall or an autumn card, I'm using Very Vanilla. Now, if you use, oh, that's great. If you use Very Vanilla, reach out and get the thick Very Vanilla. It works better on the thick Very Vanilla. All right. So I have my card base, regular card base, 5.5 by 8.5, scored up 4 1/4. And let's go ahead. We're just going to burnish that and get that good score line with our bone folder. I'm using maybe some colors that you would think, well, I don't know if I really like those two colors together, but actually I think they go quite well together for a really nice autumn card. So I do have some soft succulent, and this piece is 3 3/4 by 5 inches. So let's see. Do I want to put this on? Anyways, I have this piece here. This is Cajun Craze. And this is the Leaf Fall 3D embossing folder. And I really like this embossing folder because it leaves a bit of a space here where you could, I guess, you could stamp directly right onto your cardstock. Or you can just have this go like this and they're falling leaves. It's a beautiful embossing folder. So we've got that. Now, I also cut this piece of Cajun Crates, and I cut that out of the deckled rectangles. I just like the fact that it's a little bit different. Do you remember those deckled scissors? I mean, they were fun. I really like them as well. You know what? I'm going to turn it, I think, like this. And I'm going to go ahead and put this completely on there right now. And then what I'm going to do is I think I'm just going to tie some jute around it. I don't know where I'm going to put the bow. I have no idea. So I think what I'll do is I'll wait until more when we've done some of our other stuff. So this is the 3rd size deckled rectangle. And you notice I put this up there. I'm going to use a tag to put the sentiment on with. So I have a piece. This is the thick, so that's the one that I'm going to color on. And then this is the thinner, and that's actually what I'm going to cut the first one out of. Now, the first one that I'm doing for this particular technique is I am going to stamp it because normally, like I say, if we use our stamping blends, we want to use our Memento ink. But I wanted to kind of tie this into the rest of the card at this point. But this is the background to the spotted thing. So I'm going to come in and I've got my stamp and it's on a block, but it's photopolymer. So we want to make sure that we have our paper piercing mat. I don't know why I have so much trouble with that, but I sure do. So I'm going to come in with my soft succulent. I haven't used this color in a long time. And I'm going to have this as my base color. Let's go ahead. It's a bigger stamp. So let's go ahead and stamp from the top down. And then I'm just going to put this like this because we're actually going to put it through. We're going to cut this piece out. I want to make sure that that's all down. Just going to close this up for the time being. I want to make sure that I get all of that inked. Now, this might be a really good stamp because it's bigger. It might be a good stamp to use with your Stamparatus, but it'll work okay with this. Now, what I'm going to do is just run that through with that die, but to save time and the jiggling, I am going to go and I have this piece just cut out like that. And so what that's going to do is that's going to go onto this part here, but we're not going to put it on yet. So what I want to do now is I want to stamp that same image and I want to stamp it in the Memento because I'm going to be coloring with blends. So let's just use our Stampin' Scrub. Missed that up. How many of you have a stamping scrub? I know this has been a tool that's been around forever and ever, but I think that some of the new stampers haven't really been seen too much of this unless your Stampin' Up Demonstrator has actually shown you this particular tool. Okay, so I've got that. Now, like I say, I want to go ahead and I want to stamp this in the memento because we're going to be coloring this part. And you notice that when it's a larger stamp, what I like to do, oh, that's awesome. When it's a larger stamp, I like to stamp from down this way. Okay, and then we're just going to go ahead and we're just going to stamp this up. And is this going to go through my cut and emboss, my mini? We're going to see because we do have to cut this part now. There we go. So now what I have to do, this is where I am going to take a certain piece of this card and I am going to have that as my highlight. So I have my layering circle dies. I have one that is smaller than the other. And what I did was with the bigger one, I cut that out in soft succulent. And now what I'm going to do is decide where I'm going to put this. And I think that's a good spot for it. And I'm just going to do that. And let's just take that thing away. And let's see if this is going to fit through here. If not, I'm just going to cut it down a bit. Whew, it's going to go. It's going to be tight, but it's going to go. And really, if it doesn't quite go through properly, as long as it cuts right with that circle, we'll be fine. So like I say, this is spotlighting that we're doing. I know my team did a challenge with spotlighting, and it worked out. I had some beautiful samples, that's for sure. All right. So then the rest of this is going to be, well, we could do reverse spotlighting. We could use this where this could be down and I could color this. Anyways, that's another story. Okay. Don't want to get too confusing with this. All right. So I have my little piece here. Put that in my magnetic thing so I don't lose those dies. Now what I want to do is I want to come in with my blends. And the colors I'm going to use are soft succulent. I'm going to use one of the natural tones, number 300. I have some So Saffron. I am also going to use Cajun Craze, probably some Coastal Cabana, and some Crumb Cake. So those are the colors that we're going to use today. All right. Now, I'm wondering what I should do here. I'm going to actually bring in this piece, just the back of my sheet there, and let's get coloring this. So I'm just going to come in with my light Crumb Cake, and we're going to color the bottom parts of our acorn. And I can see I need to replace this. So I usually always color in a circular motion. And it really helps if you have the stamp set beside you so that you know what you're actually coloring. I know that. But when you get up here and there's some leaves, it tends to get a little mixed up. So I'm going to come in with my dark. We're going to use those lines that Stampin' Up gives us on the stamp. And then I'm going to come back in with my Crumb Cake. And make sure that what you do is you do that in circles. And then what happens with that is it takes those definite lines away. So now I'm not saying hello to specific people, because if you haven't signed in, saying that it's okay through to StreamYard, then I don't know who you are that's talking. So I'm just going to actually saturate the top part of this acorn. And then we're going to come in with that number 300. And I'm just going to actually do some highlights in here. This just adds a bit to that. And then I'm going to come back in with my light Crumb Cake and just get those blends and blend that together. I'm not taking the color of that number 300 away, but what I'm doing is I'm stopping those lines from being there. Now we can also do some of these. Now, I really thought the soft succulent would be amazing on these leaves. So I know that this big leaf is here. This is the light. So we're saturating those leaves. This is another leaf. Now, this is my autumn card. I have to tell you, I'm not the best person when it comes to autumn colors. I find that they're just not in my color palettes. So, but this works for me. I can do this. Okay, we just want to get our leaves, and then we're going to go in with our dark, soft succulent. Now, is this a leaf up here? No, that's a squirrely bit, but there is here and here. And then I'm just going to come in with my dark, and then let's just get some definition in there. So I'm just using the lines that Stampin' Up has. Who else loves to color? I find it very therapeutic, that is for sure. So now we're going to come back in with that soft succulent. I like to blend mine with the bullet end because I don't want to color all of it. I just want to get those lines. I want some white on that, on those leaves as well. So I'm not coloring all of the green. All right. So then I thought, well, let's get this. We're going to get some of this Cajun Craze because we have Cajun Craze on here. So I've got some light Cajun Craze, and I'm actually going in and I'm doing those darker ones. I'm going to come in with some So Saffron. And we're also going to use some light Cajun Craze on here. We're flicking. And then I'm going back in with my So Saffron. And I see that I also have that's the dark Cajun Craze. Got a little berry over here that we're going to color with the light. And then maybe go in with a bit of the dark just to give a bit of definition. Okay. So that's kind of looking. Let me just show you a little bit there. It's definitely giving me a fall sort of tones to it. And I think with these squirrely bits, what I can do is I'm going to go with the bullet side. And to bring out more of that Cajun Craze, I think I'm just going to color some in there. There we go. So there's my coloring. Not too, you know what? Maybe I want to go a little bit darker on that. This is the dark crumb cake. Yes. I think we'll go a little bit darker up on this top part of the acorn. And then I'm going to come back in with the light crumb cake just to blend those colors together so we don't see those lines. All right. So there's that part. So it's been colored. Now, like I say, this is going to go on here like this. I have some words that are going to go on there. So what I want to do is I want to layer this onto there. So I'm not going to pop it up. I'm just going to glue this completely on there. See, even using the heavy vanilla, it still bleeds through. And you want that bleeding because it shows that you've actually blended your cards. You know, whoever said that they're not good at coloring, it's all a matter of practice, because you've got to get the concept that these stamping blends blend. Like, you see how they blended? They look, you can see shadows with it, and that's what it's supposed to be like. All right, so this is going to go like this. So we want to kind of line up those leaves and everything else. So see, and then what that's done is it spotlighted that particular part of the stamp. So I'm actually going to go in and I'm going to, we're going to put this up here. There we go. And we're also going to lift this up. Now, my whole thing is, what do I want to put on here? And I think I'm going to use this linen thread because I think it works so well with this. So I'm just going to wrap that around a couple of times. Let's just go and cut that. It's quite subtle how that works. Let's just do that. And then that way now I know that at least it's going to, if it's not tight enough, we can make it tighter by taping it on the back of this. But I like it going through to the soft succulent and the Cajun craze. Different color combination, right? All right, so I'll just take my scissors and let's go ahead and do this. Oh, it's you, Donna. Are you down in Vancouver or Abbotsford or Chilliwack? You were doing just fine when you were coloring. All right, so we're going to put that there. What we're going to also do is put a sentiment here. And the sentiments that went on there were, let's see, that would fit on there would be just a note. There's other one. I'm going to use Autumn Wishes because this is actually supposed to go onto a blog hop that I'm doing in the next couple of days. Now, I went ahead and stamped this because I didn't know whether or not if we should put on, should I do the stamping in Cajun Craze? I think it's actually better. I think I'll do it in the Autumn Wishes. All right, so let's go ahead and stick this on as well. All right, so that's going, let's go ahead, put this onto there. Now, I guess before we do this, let's go ahead and we can just put, I think we'll just put this stamp on the inside. I do not want to go in unless I cut it out. I do not want to go in and color that because you saw what happened on the other side there. So if I go and put this on, I could actually do a highlight on the inside as well. So maybe that's what I'll do, is I'll do this in the soft succulent. And we're just going to put this off to the side here. And then I can go ahead and maybe put something else on there. All right, so this is going to go on here. So let's glue that on. So like I say, this technique is called spotlighting. You can do it a number of different ways. I did it the simple way with just a circle. You could do it with any kind of a shape that you want to do it with. You could also do it where it's diagonal. You could do a lot of different things that way. All right, so let's go ahead and take this off. You know, if you have problems with coloring, the best thing to do is not to go to a big image. Like when I say not a big image, this was a small image, so it makes your coloring easier to begin with. Okay, so this is just going to go up like this. Let's go ahead and put this on. So we want to see how our acorns are going. We want to kind of line everything up. We can see we've got a little bit there. Let's go in there. There we go. So see how that's been spotlighted there. I'm going to go ahead and put this, whoops, that's our blank one. I'm going to put some Autumn Wishes. I don't really want to cover that up, but Oh my goodness, my dog's barking. Okay, so we're going to just put that right about there. So I'm putting the dimensionals on this side and glue on that side. Or maybe what I could do is just even do it down here. Maybe, you know what, it needs a bit of something on there. So I think I'm going to come with my stamping blends or my blending brush. I'm going to use the soft succulent again. Let's just come in and just dirty it up a little bit. And actually, I could use some Cajun craze on there as well if I wanted. That kind of means that I got to do this now. Oops. Just to take that whiteness off. Or there. All right, so do I put it there? Put it right there. You know what? I think I'm going to put it right about there. Come in with our dimensionals again. You know, and it's a really old technique. You know, like I say, this was done. My team did this on their on the team page, and they did a wonderful job doing this technique. But like I say, I'll show you another card, and I think I'll just show you a really easy way of doing this technique. So I'm just going to put that there. Just going to put that right about there. And those dimensionals are going to keep it up the same level. Well, I guess it's not. What I need to do is double dimensionalize that. So sorry. I'm just going to come in here, put a second one there. And that's going to get it the same level as that. There we go. And this is just going to hook down here. And then I figured what I could do is I could use these embellishments. These embellishments are on sale until Wednesday night on the weekly specials. Have you checked out those weekly specials? All right. So you know what? I don't want to use the really shiny ones. I think I'll use the more brushed gold ones. Let's put one there. And then one more down here. So I'm hoping you're liking this technique. I think this one's so much fun. I love doing these techniques. There, we'll put that there. So there's the card for the spotlighting technique. Now what I want to do is I want to show you another one that is really simple to do. And here's the other one. And what this one is, and I want to show you this, this is the designer series paper that is called Perfectly Penciled. So all I did was I went in and I cut one of the images out, and then I went and I cut out another circle, just like I did on this card. I used the same, not the same stamp set. And what I did was then I went and I colored those with real red blends and a bit of the So Saffron. And again, I also used the deckled rectangles there. So there was that one and this one. Like I say, almost the same layout, but they look totally different, don't they? So I hope you enjoyed that. Like I say, if you want the measurements and everything else, that'll be on my, it'll be on my stamping group. You can download the files. What you need to do is go into the Facebook group. The link is down below if you're joined through another Facebook group or through my Facebook page or through YouTube, that you can make sure that you're a member there. Then you can download it. It'll be there at 9:05 in the morning, tomorrow morning, Pacific time, of course. And then you can 3-hole punch them and put them into a book, and then you've got that book, right? So where did that? That's I know, it's turn it over. Anyways, so that'll be the technique. It'll show down here. I might show this other picture. I'm not too sure, but in any event, that's the technique for this week, and that's episode number 16. All right, so what else is happening? Tomorrow I will be doing the mystery challenge at 3 o'clock Pacific time. It's a little, I don't know exactly. I was working on something and something else came up. So we'll see what happens with that. And I hope that you join me. Don't forget, when you do join me on any of my challenges, you have a chance to win a stamp set if you live in Canada. And if you don't live in Canada, you have the opportunity to get a tutorial from me as well. And like I say, and then on Thursday, the Now What series. I love that series too. I have so much fun doing these. I really do like them. In any event, make sure that you give me the thumbs up. The biggest compliment that you could do for me is to share my video. I really do appreciate that. And until tomorrow, bye for now.